Hey, you know what? It's that game time again.
Yeah, aren't we the dynamic duo of board games?
Dynamic duo? Haha, yeah, right. More like the competitive couple. When was the last time you let me win? Including last night.
Let you win? I don't even go there. Anyway, competitiveness aside, every year we are eagerly awaiting games that make their game debut at Essen Spiel. And let me tell you, this year does not disappoint.
Yeah, so we've been absolutely taking sneak peeks, doing our homework, and now we're bringing you our top 5 games that are releasing or at Essen Spiel 2023. So let's get into it.
So grab your dice, pick your player token, and let's dive into the world of board games. But remember, no table flipping this time, okay?
No promises. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to Wisco Dice! Hey folks, I am your host, Conesy with the Most, and I am joined today by...
Hey, I'm Suzanne.
Hey, I'm actually joined by somebody this time. It feels pretty good after the last video. So, on today's episode, we're going to touch on our top 5 most anticipated games that are coming out at Essen Spiel 2023. Essen Spiel is in Essen, Germany, and is probably the world's largest board game convention. It is multiple halls of multiple vendors for a full, giant, long weekend of excellent games. Of course, we haven't been to Essen Spiel yet.
Not yet.
And of course, if you're in Germany, it's just known as the Spiel. Everybody outside of Germany pretty much calls it Essen, but it happens to be in Essen, and it is the Spiel. So, Essen Spiel. We'll make sure, as part of this video, that down in the description over on Board Game Geek is a full list of all of the games, which has been pretty much getting updated daily, nearly, that are coming out at Essen Spiel. So you can check out and figure out which games you're most excited for. And of course, let us know in the comments below what games you really want to check out or you're really excited to pick up and add to your collections that are releasing at Essen Spiel 2023 this year.
Yep. And while you're doing that, don't forget to smash that like button. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe so we know to keep making these videos. Of course, leave any type of comment below and let us know games that you, like Conesy said, are excited for at Essen, or even just other games that you've been playing and are excited about. Because we're always on the lookout for new games and want to know what our viewers are enjoying too.
Yeah, absolutely. Please make sure if you haven't subscribed, we know in the stats most of you that are watching haven't subscribed, so please also take the time to subscribe. It helps out your favorite YouTube channels so very much, and we very much appreciate it if you do that for us today. All right, with that, let's get into our top 5 games of Essen Spiel! All right, let's go ahead and get this list started with our first game. This is going to be, we're going to actually do my 5 favorite games and then your 5 favorite games. We'll kind of just take turns. Like all the list videos, right? So
how is this different?
How is this different? Because it's us. So we're going to start off and this is my top number 1 game I am absolutely excited for.
Oh, did you rank yours in order?
I would say the rest of my games are not necessarily in a ranked order, but this one is definitely my absolute one that has me the most excited. I am absolutely frothing, super stoked, can't wait. Blew my mind when I saw this at Gen Con, and that is... Did I hype it up enough yet?
I am feeling a little pressure to try and find this game for you now.
Oh, I almost pre-ordered it, so because there's reasons. So that game is Nucleum from Board and Dice. Now, of course, Board and Dice is one of my favorite board game publishers. They almost all of the what are known as the T games are published under Board and Dice's banner. There is a ton of really good titles. And so we did get to see this as a preview copy at Gen Con, and it looked awesome. That's what I'm going to say. Like, listen, I am super excited. I hope this game.
I'm excited for this too, but not anywhere near that level.
I'm really worried.
That excited for anything.
I'm really worried I'm going to get this game and be very disappointed after I play it.
But it's got colors.
It is. So yes, that was one of the first things I noticed when I saw it, was that a lot of the board and dice games, particularly the T series of games, are very bland in color. No, this had color all over the place. Big bright reds, purples. And so this is kind of a Victorian era game is where it's set. It's what it's set in. But rather than nuclear power being kind of discovered in, the 20th century, it's actually discovered during the Victorian era, and they call it nucleum. So now you're in a kind of this race to sprawl out and build two cities and establish your power grid and establish your various plants, your nucleum plants, and so on and so forth across the board. And if you can out-industrialize your other players, in the form of points, of course, I'm sure, you will win this game. So, it's got a lot of the classic, tropes to it. The board almost reminded me a little bit of Power Grid, but the mechanics are so not Power Grid. It's a very classic Euro, not an auctioning game or anything like that. I am really excited for this game. I'm really looking forward to getting it to the table. It looks like it's got plenty of crunchiness to it to really make you burn your brain while you're playing it, but visually looks really good on the table.
You're going to burn your brain in the nuclear game.
Yeah, exactly. little radioactive energy there. It's all good. It's all good. So that is my first and probably the game I am most excited for that's coming out at Essen Spiel this year. And yeah, my list goes downhill from here, but there are plenty of great I started off with the best.
These other games are actually really good too.
I'm setting it up good here today. All right, and so Suzanne, what is your first game you want to tell us about?
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I could top that.
Well,
but that level of enthusiasm. But I'm just going to start off by saying my 5 games are not in any ranked order. Okay, they're just games that have caught my eye, and for different reasons. So mine's more of a variety of games.
Like they were out there trying to catch it like a pass.
Yes, that's exactly what all
I'm
the
in
games
a peculiar mood today. So
wow. Okay. Anyway, my first game is called Planta Nubu. Nubo. I'm not exactly how to say
Planta Nubo? I don't know. Something like that.
I believe it's only coming out in German this year, but that is not going to keep me from trying to check out this game as much as I can from afar, and if I can even get the hands on a German copy of it, hey, it's great for my German skills.
We've been learning German. I mean, that's a skill we are learning so we can go to Essen.
This one, as I was looking at it, I did not realize it, because I don't search my games by publisher mostly, so I go and I always get pleasantly surprised. This is an Uwe Rosenberg game.
It's got to be good then.
So, but
most likely.
Yep. But here's what caught my eye. What intrigued me about this game is that it's described as a solar punk game, which I've not heard of solar punk. Steampunk, yes, but solar punk. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. And you're creating a garden in the sky. So gardens, flowers, nature. For me, a lot of times playing games are just relaxing, and then when you add that nature element, it just adds it, increases it.
As long as you don't forget to feed your workers, you'll probably be okay.
I don't know.
I mean, that's a classic Uwe mechanic.
I think you have to feed your plants in this one.
That's almost. I mean, your plants are your workers probably. So yeah,
you're working to grow energy-rich flowers and plants in the treetops. So these arbors.
I can't imagine a game like this Uwe not having a feeding phase somewhere in there.
So there probably is. You're just working on building up the slush energy producing garden forest, and you have bots that are helping you, and you're producing oxygen, and you're trying to create the best oxygen production facility. So it was just, it's got a little action drafting, it's got tile placement, which I like, and worker placement, so it's kind of got a lot of things that I really enjoy in a game. So that is one of my picks is Planta Nubo by the Game Builders. So
I'm really excited to see that one. That was definitely not one that it was on. I don't even think it was on my list of like 30 or 40 games to check out. So I'll definitely be interested to play that.
If you ever saw us making our list, we both address or approach it very, very differently and how we sort and look through them. So, all right, Conesy, what is next on your list?
All right, so next up is another game that I saw at Gen Con, and this one wasn't on my radar at all, and probably wouldn't have been until I saw it at Gen Con set up. And they were doing demos at Gen Con of it, but it was all ticketed demos in the CGE room, and that is Kunahora, the City of Silver. Now, this game, I don't remember a ton about it exactly. I remember it being that classic like bland Euro-looking game, but like lots of little bits.
It's the opposite of a lot of CGE games.
Yeah.
Where Nucleum was the opposite of a lot of board and dice, this is the opposite of a lot of CGE games, color-wise and everything.
This looks but it looks like it's going to be a full-blown, like, crunchy, again, another very heavy Euro game, and I'm really excited for that, because usually, like, every year CGE puts out, like, one really kind of, like, mid to heavy crunchy Euro game, and I think this is this year's new heavy crunchy Euro game, and I'm really excited to get it. So it's obviously I should say obviously it is set more in I think the theming is more around like South America, like either Aztecs or Mayan Empire or something like that. I didn't catch the full mechanics and all the other details with it, but it looked really awesome.
It
and
had a
definitely
nice table presence with some of the components. There was like a little stand that builds up, looked almost like an amphitheater. I don't know what it was for, but yeah, like I said, we couldn't get a demo of it, but we read through the back of the box and the rules and the player aids that were out. So
it looked really cool. I'm super excited for it. That was when I oftentimes gravitate to games that are visually appealing, but also have a lot of good crunchy, mechanics to them as well. So
yeah, it's a black box. At least the prototype that we saw was pretty much a black box, which is great if you organize your games in color order. So you know where it goes in your order.
I don't organize my games that way. She does.
Yeah. So
anyway. All right, that is Kunahora, the City of Silver from CGE.
All right. So next up for me is a game from Fantasia Games. It's called Unconscious Mind. It is a Freudian game in that you are kind of playing Freud and you're having these ideas and you're visiting different locations and kind of just gathering information from those that are laying on the couch in front of you. So there is a rondel. It's got some worker placement. One thing that really caught my eye also with this is that it's got program movement. So I like that a little bit, that you have to figure out what's going on and what you're going to do before everyone else has played. So sometimes it stops or cuts down on the analysis paralysis with people. But, overall, this game, you are working to interpret your client's dreams and figure out what's going on and build up this business that you are running.
So
psychiatry business.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So this Fantasia Games, they did another really big game last year that we talked about a lot in Endless Winter, right?
Oh yes,
they're the
I
same
loved
publisher.
Endless Winter. I still love Endless Winter. I know it's fallen off for some people, but yeah.
So this game had a lot of hype, I think, right away when Endless Winter was first released, and really people were talking about it a lot. And then I feel like it's fallen off a lot of people's radar. But I expect this game to actually be really good. Component quality, gameplay being good. And I am also a big fan of the hidden movement, kind of make your pre-programmed decisions. in secret, and then everybody reveals, and then you reveal, kind of work out the actions. So I like those kind of mechanics in a game. So I'm looking forward to getting this game as well and getting to the table.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, if it's not us, somebody we know will actually buy a copy of this. Yeah. Although it's very likely we'll end up with a copy ourselves.
This is pretty high on my list to obtain a copy of. So I mean, it's got some where you are going to create cascading chain events too as the game goes on. So you're going to be able to do more and more and more, which is always for me a lot of fun. It starts out slow and then it builds. So that is Unconscious Mind by Fantasia Games.
All right, and then next up for me, I'm going to talk about Evacuation from Delicious Games. Now, Evacuation is, again, another one of these crunchy Euro games but this is a sci-fi based game. And what's really interesting here is that you start out the game basically your full engine is running. So, but the planet is on fire and going to explode or get destroyed or whatever. The classic sci-fi theme of whatever. It's the end of the world as you know it. Yep. And so everybody's got to, you got to try to, as your corporation, you have to try to pick up everything you're doing on the planet you're on, that you start the game on, and load it up on ships and fly it to a new home world, and then reestablish your planet and your manufacturing and everything you're doing there, and try to corner the market in various ways on the new planet while still being able to manufacture and do what you need to be able to support the exodus from the planet that's about to die. So it's a very classic sci-fi theming here with mechanics that have me really intrigued, because I think there's going to be a real puzzle it out every game on how you tear things down and rebuild it on the second planet to be able to be the most successful and not to, because at some point, the game trigger is going to be oh, hey, somehow the game ended and you still have stuff on the other planet. Well, it's gone.
You left people behind.
You left people or machinery or whatever behind, right?
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a big part of the mechanics of the game end. And so your score is going to be factored on how much you get, how much of your corporation and factories and everything that you got established on the new world.
Yeah, I think this one is very intriguing in that you start with your machine fully operational, so you're not building it up.
Yep.
You start with it fully operational, you take it down, and then you rebuild it to a way that's going to work for you in the new world. So you got to figure out which pieces you're taking off and moving over and stuff. So
here it is. Here's what your engine can do.
Yeah.
It's fully functional in front of you. You can't mess it up. It's already built.
But you need to take it down without breaking it too much, so it needs to stay functional.
You're going to break it, right? You know you're going to have to break it to transport it, but
to keep it,
Yeah, but
it's like Jenga, where you got to take out the right pieces.
Except as this Euro game, which is going to be really interesting. I'm really excited for this one. This is another game that I was very pleasantly surprised when I discovered it, and I've played other games by Delicious Games, and I haven't really been disappointed by anything they've done. But don't ask me necessarily to name a game that they've published. But I know I've played games by them, and I know I've liked what I played. So I'm hoping this one will be kind of that breakout game, not only for them, but also the one that'll be I'm more excited for games from Delicious Games. So that is Evacuation from Delicious Games, obviously.
All right. Before we go into my number 3, Conesy, what I am realizing is that when we go to Essen Spiel,
we're just going to run crazy through all of these convention centers.
No, we better pack super light, because we're going to need all of our suitcases to bring back all these games that we're going to watch.
Oh yeah, I plan on taking all of the clothes that I don't care about.
So you can just leave them there?
Yep, somebody's going to get some great new large person nerd clothes to be left at wherever we are staying.
Oh gosh. Someone's going to you trade clothes with people too. All right. So we are going on to my number 3 game, which is a bit more of a family-friendly game, I wanted to pick something that was not necessarily just lighter, but also that you could, or that we could, or someone could add to their collection that may occasionally have either a non-gaming group or younger children playing with us. So Dr. Frankenstein is my pick for that this year. And this is published by Truffle Games. It's a lot of pattern building. It's definitely a cute Frankenstein themed game. So it's not like Abomination where it's kind of dark and you see some blood and gore. No, these are cards that, yes, the images on the cards have body parts in these jars, but they do not look realistic. It's just colorful, and you are trying to collect different parts to make sets. So you're making patterns and collecting sets and just kind of taking what you want from different columns, and there's rules for what you can take for different columns. So this one, it may not be something that Conesy's super excited about, but for me, when I'm thinking what would be a next step up game for my nieces that we enjoy playing games with, this is definitely one that's kind of got that, hey, interest for the adults and for the younger kids too. So that's Dr. Frankenstein by Truffle Games.
All right, there's some intriguing kind of ideas there and mechanics, and I do actually typically find that I enjoy games like that a little bit more than I expect I'm going to, but it definitely doesn't trigger anything on my radar. And I actually think, me personally, I'd be a little worried about playing that with younger children, but your teens or early teens, preteens, kind of, I think that'd be okay.
Yeah.
Like when they start getting to be able to understand some of those more mature concepts, but aren't really quite ready for the true horror, dark kind of things.
Yeah, this is not anything horror. I mean, you see more driving down the street for Halloween decorations here in Wisconsin than what's on these cards.
I mean, Abomination is kind of also a set collection game, but it's like that crunchy Euro horror kind of inspired game. This sounds like it's definitely more, in spirit with like the Halloween time of year too. So, probably a great game if you have younger children to get out and play, during the Halloween season. So my next up is going to go a little darker and a little more on the horror side.
So we balance each other out.
Yeah. So this is Horror on the Orient Express, the board game from Chaosium. Now, Horror on the Orient Express is this classic role-playing scenario adventure box set that Chaosium produced for the Call of Cthulhu, a role-playing game. And it is an epic classic. And I, at one point, actually owned a copy of it and had intended to run it for my gaming group. So classic Victorian era murder mystery with the mythos involved, some kind of supernatural element on the Orient Express, which is this, this train that's going. So I'm really excited how they're going to incorporate that into a board game, and make sure that you get all the feel, because like the box set had all sorts of cool like handouts, like faded parchment papers and tickets and all sorts of other really cool components that you could hand out as part of the RPG game as well. So I'm really interested to see how they can incorporate things like that, because board games really lend themselves to some of those tactile components. And I feel like if they do this one right, they have a really awesome, immersive board game version of the role-playing game that should have a good narrative, a good story, because this is definitely one that I've heard that if you've played the RPG game and played this scenario, of course it's always, an RPG game is always as good as the quality of the GM, but that this has a very good immersive story arc throughout. So I'm really excited to see what they do with this particular board game, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if this is another one that gets added to our collection, because it has so much potential. I'm a little nervous about it that it doesn't live up to the potential though, because Chaosium isn't known for board games. They're a role-playing game company that's produced a lot of the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game
it sounds
supplements
like
and
they're
stuff.
taking the role-play core of the game and putting it into a board game. So if they can keep a lot of that role-play elements, but then just have, the board, it makes it a little bit more accessible to individuals like myself who enjoy the immersive experience but aren't really into the role-play games to get into this and have it is it like a legacy game?
I don't know.
I mean,
sure.
if it's a legacy or campaign game, I can see that because then you're getting the pieces that you would normally get, like the scrolls or the parchments in the role-play game that are one use, and you use them and then you move on. So how you're describing it, to me, it sounds like, the board game itself is the GM, and then you go through it. So I'm really excited.
I'm really excited to see it. I really would like to see a little bit more about it, get my hands on it. This is definitely one that I unless something comes out after Essen that people are really bombing this on the review side of things, I definitely see this as a game that I would love to add to the collection, because we love games like Mansions of Madness, right?
Oh yeah.
And we love playing that, and until I decided to rebase all the monsters and paint them, we were actually getting to the table regularly.
We will play it again in 2028.
Yeah, probably something like that. So anyways, that is Horror on the Orient Express, the board game from Chaosium. So what else do you have on your list of games that you want to tell us about? Because that's only 4.
4 for you. So now, my number 4. Oh my gosh, you're just going to be blown away with this.
I am? I don't know.
Probably not.
Have you blown off my chairs? Am I really worried about, I got to hang on for your...
Well, it is published by Funny Fox. So, this is probably a game that I apologize. I'm going to say the name of it wrong. I believe it's Betikas. It is a worker placement game where you are in Greece and you are a builder that is constructing cities and temples on Mount Olympus.
Oh, okay.
So you want to get it up as high as you can and gain favor, and they do some special abilities with different offerings. So for me, this worker placement game had some real eye-catching table presence, nothing extravagant. Nothing that's going to make it hard for you to see if you're standing on the other side of the table from someone else. But just the colors and, the different levels that you're moving up on this mountain and everything, and getting your resources. So I'm not sure how intense, crunchy this game is, but for me, it kind of doesn't matter. It just looked like, hey, this would be a fun game. This would be a great game for game nights. Hopefully that, we have limited amount of time and everyone's worn out from working all day, that we can come and play it. So yeah, so that's what. This game actually was in that if I was going to Essen, I definitely would have wanted to check it out. Yeah,
didn't quite make the list of hey, for sure I would like to check out, but it was on that borderline. So I remember looking at it and seeing it and going, that looks like it could be an interesting game. So
yeah,
I'm curious.
I was looking for a balance of games. If I could only have brought 5 games back from Essen that were kind of a well-rounded collection of games, this kind of fit there. So that's my Tikas from Funny Fox Games.
All right. So my last game on the list, certainly not least game on the list, is The Presence from Purple Lantern Games. Now, this is another one of those horror games where I think there's something really interesting going on here, but I couldn't tell enough from the BGG description. This is a game that I would love to get my hands on and try. It just as a demo game, or if it ends up in the collection because that's the only way I could try it, sure, no problem. Because I think it's intriguing enough for us to purchase. And so basically the premise is that there is going to be one player at the table that's nominated as the spirit player, and then everybody else are visitor players to this like location, classic like mansions or whatever, right? Something with lots of rooms. And the spirit is obviously there to be haunting it, but you don't know at the start of the game if the spirit is benevolent and there to help you, or, you know, because maybe there's some other greater horror that's also here at this house that might be a greater threat, so the spirit's actually on the side of the visitors, or if the spirit is actually against the visitors. So throughout the course of the game, the spirit is doing things that may be, you know, leaving clues as to what the spirit's intentions are, and there's a lot of limited communication as well in the game. So like if the visitors,
that's hard.
not only can the spirit not really communicate except for through clues that it leaves in its actions, but the visitors, like if they split up and one person goes off on their own, during that player's actions and turn, they can't communicate with the rest of the group. And same with, they can't communicate with the rest of the group of the visitor players when the visitor players are working together in a room. So it's this, I really like that idea because it takes away, it's all like kind of a co-op, but maybe not a co-op depending on the orientation of the spirit, but it's also got this like ability built into the game, assuming that you play the limited communication correctly, to remove quarterbacking from the game, but while at the same time, while all the players are kind of grouped up and massed up together, they can work together and communicate and whatever. But obviously, that's probably not the fastest way or the best way. Sometimes you're going to have to split up to try to solve things. And also, I like this idea that the spirit could do things in multiple different rooms. Like they don't have to be like
they're a spirit, they just kind of spread out.
Well, depending on like the type or the nature of the spirit. So right, like a poltergeist might be triggering things in multiple different rooms, whereas like maybe you're just a boring phantasm or something like that, and you can only make like the bell ring in one room or something like that. I don't know. I don't have the full flavor. Like there wasn't enough description, but it like that really had me interested in this game, because that could, if the game is good, they could set up like, you know, lower the lights, set the mood music, and maybe even get somebody to be like, you know, get that tension level up at the board game table. That, like, I don't think you can ever really capture the full horror experience, but if you can get the tension level up a little bit, get that adrenaline going in some players a little bit, like that's the best. Like that's as close as you can get to a true horror game experience, or a horror movie experience, or horror, you know, novel experience, right? So I'm looking forward to that. I really think that's going to be a neat game mechanic. And so anyways, that is
my least favorite game from Ben's list, but he is going to enjoy all of these dark and horror-filled games that are going to be in our presence. I foresee lots of playing with the lights dim in our future.
So anyways, that is the presents from Purple Lantern Games. All right, so as we move on to our final game, that has been so far a very good list of games. I don't think there's really a bad game in any of the. Okay, maybe the
He hasn't heard my fifth game yet.
That is true.
so, and this I think might surprise Conesy a little bit, because it's not a typical game I gravitate towards.
No, I don't think I'm going to.
So, but I don't know, it did still sound interesting to me, and it also sounded interesting to me to play with our core gaming group that we have. So I thought it might be a good for that. I think our daughter, when she ever decides to come home from college again, may enjoy playing it with us also. So, and I apologize if I pronounced this name wrong again. It's Hegemony.
You got it right.
All right. Hegemony, lead your class to victory. It's published by Hegemonic Games, Portal Games, and Simon Global. So I guess depending on where you are, it may be published by any one of them.
I'm going to note here that this game has distributed, I think, through Kickstarter to backers.
Oh, has it already?
So, because I'm pretty confident that our friend Don has a copy of this.
Okay.
And I had a chance to actually play it already, but I didn't. I unfortunately couldn't make that weekend work.
Gotcha. Okay, well, so we'll see what you think of it. What was intriguing to me is that it's got asymmetric player powers, and there's some hand management. This is kind of my game that is going to cause you to think a little bit more, and you might learn something about economics and about the world and about how different groups work in it. So this is my, hey, I'm ready to learn.
This looks like a
burn my brain a little bit.
Game.
So, but I do like heavy games. All these games have their place. We got some lighter games. We got some heavier games. You're basically...
Where were your social deduction games?
If you ever play a game with me and you want to be on... and you want to make sure you win, play a social deduction game with me. Or if you don't want me to play a game with you, pick a social deduction game and I'll watch. And I will be just fine watching.
Future video, top 5 games we don't like. It's going to be a series of social deduction games from her.
Well, now we don't have to give that list. All right. Anyway, and I for those of you who enjoy those, that is great. For me, they just don't work. So anyway, this is a political economic card-driven board game. So you're the role of one type of socioeconomic group in a state. You're like the working class, the middle class, capitalist, or you are the state itself. And then you each have different abilities and different goals that you are working towards. So you are trying to do that and come out on top with your class, or that the state is, you know, if you're the state, hey, make everyone happy. So it's definitely a different trying to game. You need to keep income steady coming through. So, and you have, each person has different policies and things that they can do and can't do, focused on, you know, hey, if you are the capitalist class, you know, whatever, you know, that type of class society would do, that's what you can do, and you can't, you know, maybe work as if you were the middle class group. So it's based on actual academic principles. And so it's going to let you see how changing these and having one stronger than the other is really would affect the world and the global economy too. So it just seems like it's a nice, thinky game.
I'd say nice. I'd say it's a heavy, crunchy game, but I am really excited to play this one too.
I would like to play it. You know, yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's one that I would play a lot.
No, I think this is a game that this is going to be like the Lacerda games, right? We get on Mars to the table like once every couple of years, and it's like a full relearn how to play it. I feel like this is kind of that same thing. We should talk. I believe our friend Don has a copy. I think he backed it from like a Kickstarter on the Kickstarter.
Okay, Don, if you're watching, because he should be, come on over and play it with us.
I think Don's over in Scotland or something right now. But Don, when you get back, we need to hook up and play this game with you.
So anyway, so yes, so that is Hegemony, a Lead Your Class to Victory by Hegemonic Games.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
Yes, so that is my number 5 game.
All right, well that was a heck of a list of games. So just to recap, I started out with Nucleum from Board and Dice, then Kunahora, the City of Silver from CGE, Evacuation from Delicious Games, Horror on the Orient Express, the board game from Chaosium, and The Presence from Purple Lantern Games. And what was your list?
All right, so mine was Planta Nubu from the Game Builders. I had Unconscious Mind from Fantasia Games. I had Dr. Frankenstein from Truffle. I had Myticus from Funny Fox. And last but not least is Hegemony, Lead Your Class to Victory by Hegemonic Games.
All right, so that's our lists of games that we're really excited. Of course, if you want more games and hear about more games that are coming out at Essen Spiel 2023, make sure you check out episode 114 of the Wisco Dice Tabletop Gaming Podcast. Available now, or pretty much now, wherever you download podcasts. And, of course, drop us a note in the comments to let us know what games you're really excited about, or if you shared our excitement for any of the games that we talked about. Nucleum.
Well, and here's the other thing, is if there's a game that you would like to hear more about from our list, let us know in the comments, and if we can get our hands on a copy of the game, we'll do our best to review it and let you know what we think of it.
Or even maybe a playthrough.
Yes.
So, okay. That heads off our list of Essen. Unfortunately, we won't be able to attend the show this year. Coming from the U.S., it is a heck of an expense, but it is definitely on our
bucket list.
I wouldn't say just on our bucket list. It is on the honey-do list of things we're probably doing in the next couple of years. So we're looking forward to checking out Essen Spiel. And of course, if you're going to be at the show, if you're going to be there, we'd love to see pictures and see more follow up on any of these games. So please let us know in the comments if you're going to be there, and which and where we can find where you.
I guess
put
on
like
social media, if you post it on social media,
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Check out what you're seeing. So that'd be great.
All
right. Until next time.
Peace out. Hey there, it's Conesy. Thank you so much for watching. We put out videos weekly here at Wisco Dice. Check out our channel for more great videos, and don't forget to subscribe. We also have more great content on our website at wiscodice.com. Of course, we do this all for you, the viewers. So please like the video if you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.